Hello friends, those back pages here. I hope you're well. Welcome to my 2025 National Recap video. So, the 2025 National is now over. It's Monday, the day after when I'm filming this. And sore, sad, and tired. For sure. Feeling it today on multiple levels, and I'm sure you are as well if you were with us last week in Chicago. It really is the fastest week of the year, at least for me personally. Time just flies by. So I've got some thoughts, and we'll go over the pickups again with some better lighting, I guess. I only had 12 pickups this year, and one of them was a gift for my dad. But a total of 12 slabs picked up at the show this year. Now it worked out that way. It's fine. I am trying to get better at picking up cards that not a lot of people can own, because that's the point I am at now in my hobby collecting career, because as you well know, I've been doing this a long time. So I want to say thank you. I picked up a bunch of new subscribers this past week. National videos tend to do pretty well in the hobby algorithm, so again, I appreciate your spending your time here with me on my channel while we talk about whatever it is we're talking about that day. So, yes, the National. Was it crowded? Yes. Did the air conditioning work? Yes. Did the Wi-Fi work? For the most part, yes. A couple of times it struggled for me, but again, overall versus 2023, much better. They expanded again. I'm sure you've heard many people talk about upstairs, so there's really no need to go into detail on that, but they certainly didn't utilize the space they were given for the people upstairs. The aisles are about 4 feet, maybe 5 feet wide, making it very difficult even on Wednesday afternoon to walk past them. A friend of mine was set up there, so I went up there to see him. I saw him a couple of times, but really didn't feel like squeezing through the aisles. When downstairs on the main level, it was pretty... There was a point on Saturday it was a little difficult to see some of the tables, but for the most part, the tables were easy to see. Let's see, what else about the National before we get into these cards? There's this, I guess it's almost like a meme, but saying that, oh, body odor. I don't know where you guys are sniffing, but very rarely just you see, say, oh, that guy's got bad body odor. What? Don't stand so close to him then. Was there Pokemon there? Yes, there was a good amount of Pokemon there. Did it matter? No, it did not matter. Was there vintage there? Yes, there was a lot of vintage. Was there ultramodern? Yes, there was a lot of ultramodern. Was there 90s there? Yes, there was 90s there. All of it was, I can't speak on the Pokemon prices, but on everything else, prices were up. It happens. That's why we didn't buy as much. It's okay. It almost really, I hate to say it, it's a seller's market. What kind of people did you see there this year? I saw all kinds of people. I saw kids that looked like they might have been 8 or 9 years old with the Pokemon. I saw, teenagers. I saw 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70, maybe, 70-year-olds. I saw a couple of guys had to get themselves through the aisle with a walker. But they were there to collect cards. They had interest in very old baseball cards. So I did see one gentleman in particular stands out to me at Kit Young's table, and seemed to be having a great time trying to fill in his sets that I couldn't even tell you what they were. Pre-war stuff. So you had all kinds of collectors. You had investors, flippers, Pelly boys, packers, whatever you want to call them. I'm trying to get better in my older years now with, initially the Pelly boys would bother me, and the flippers would bother me, and the packers would bother me, and I'm really trying to get to a point where not to let it bother me, because it's for the best for me, and it's all really, I got to thinking about it, and it's all really part of the ecosystem of the entire hobby. It's all needed. It's all interactive, really. Not interchangeable, but, commingling, I guess. So I would definitely say the 25 National was a success. I'd be very surprised if they'll never tell us the attendance numbers, but it had to have been a record. These last few years, it's had to have been a record. And it's funny because I had talked to some of my friends about how, we're 5 years out now from the pandemic, so I figured we would be on the other side of the bell curve, downward spiral, not spiral, but downward trend, the up, and then back down, but it's almost like we haven't hit the peak yet, which is weird to say 5 years in, but here we are. Now, tip for next year's show, other than grabbing a room as soon as possible, guess I could talk on that for a second, but I stayed in a hotel. It was about 4 miles away. Was it ideal? No. Do some of my friends all get an Airbnb annually? Yes. Do they do the same thing? Have to travel there? Yes. Does it bother them? No. I'm not sure why it bothers me as much. Well, I guess the Uber bill is not something I'm pleased with, but I think it had more to do with so many of my friends not being able to or choosing not to go this year. I think that at least mentally played a part in my unhappiness with having to Uber back and forth rather than just walking across the street. Will this change things for me next year? I don't know yet. Everything outside of the actual show, for me personally, has to be different next year. I'd rather stay across the street, obviously, but if I cannot stay across the street, I certainly do not want to spend next year's show by myself. We'll talk about that probably at another time. It's refresh off this year's show. We can't really worry about next year's show yet. But the one thing I will recommend, if you are going next year, to buy as you saw in the videos, buy yourself a VIP pass. Or I think the 5-day pass is the same as a VIP pass, but no frills, no giveaways, which is fine. The giveaways weren't all that great. But the point being is that you want to have that badge. The general admission line is no. You're having to wait upwards of 60, 90, 120 minutes to get in. Even if they do open the gates early, it's just not for me. I wouldn't want to spend an hour and a half waiting in line to get in when I could use that time in. I think time is money, because that's the one thing you cannot buy. So you want to have as much, especially if you're only going 1 or 2 days. But I really think that having the badge, the pass, and just being able to bypass the large queue where all the people for general admission were waiting is in your best interest. Whether, even if you're only going 2 days, really, if you're going, think about it. If you're only going 2 days, do you want to give those 2 hours away, 3 hours away, waiting in line to get in? No, you don't. But you have to do what's best for you. So let's go over the stuff that came in, talk a little bit about it. And first thing is, I saw my friend Chris when I walked in. Over at he's the creator of Singles Club. If you've spent any time at their table, you know Chris is on top of it. He's always trying to come up with innovative ways to sell. But he did pass me this Queen sticker, because he knows, I had picked up the 70s, 73, Pink Floyd, one of those oversized Panini stickers, and an oversized SGC slab. It's blank back. So thank you, Chris, for that very much. Happy to have that in the collection. Not going to show all the gifts I got. I just don't want this video to be 3 hours long. But I thank everyone that had me in mind and was kind enough to hand me some cards. Hey, this is Eric, this is for you, type of thing. So, first thing I did Wednesday when I got in was submit my pile. And that went very well, very smooth. Wednesday afternoon, handed it in, and by the time I got back to the hotel, like 11 o'clock that night, my order was ready. I couldn't believe it. I thought there was some kind of error, but I went in Thursday and I picked it up. And that's going to be its own separate release video. That, for the third year in a row, Don was the cameraman and the director, so we're going to put that out on its own. But they were doing a couple of giveaways. If you submitted 5 cards, first off, if you went let's just go with that first. They handed you a sealed pack with 1 slab in it, and this is a red PMG, as you can see there. A Pudgy Metal Gems Ruby PMG. It is in homage to, I don't know what it is. I think it's an upcoming trading card, TCG trading card game. But, I believe it's an exclusive for the show, and this is it's reds. It's numbered to 99 there on the bottom. And it's in homage to the 86 Fleer, the Air Jordan, pretty much the 86 Fleer. I'm very happy to have that. I had initially gotten a base version of this, and I gave it to a friend of mine, a lawyer who collects, copyright infringement cards, but this doesn't qualify for that, but it's still, he has a lot of different oddball 86 Fleers. So we'll leave that there for now. So they also had a thing going on where you were able to get your own custom card made. And I believe that was for anyone, really, anyone who showed up. But if you submitted 5 or more cards, they would slab it up for you. And it always has a metallic feel to it. And it says the National there on the top. Custom trading card, authentic. One of the shirts I had on during the show. Just commemorating, a memento of being at the show. I don't even know what that QR code does, but very happy to have that in my PC. One of one, really. Rare. So, let's get on to the slabs. If I think of anything else, I'll mention it. Yeah, I mean, we're going into this, and I think this was the first time in my national career, at least the first time I can remember, that I had a list of things I wanted to try to pick up with the show, ideally, and this was the first time I did not get any of them. The top of the list was a 52 Maze, Topps Maze PSA 1, that would go with my Mantle and Jackie, and they would kind of sit in a trio as far as eye appeal goes. So I was not able to pick one of those up. Hopefully next year. That was the top one on my list last year, but he had just passed away, and I was like, I don't know how the death tax is going to be, and wound up not seeing any. And then this year I saw a bunch of ones, twos, threes, but off-centered, snow, facial issues. Just for that kind of money, I really have to be pleased. And actually I saw one, if I remember, I don't know how to do that, but I saw, on the way out, I saw a copy of a PSA 1. I kind of met the criteria, but it was like 70-30 top to bottom, and I just had to let it go. It just didn't work out this year. That's fine. So as I had mentioned earlier, I had a card. I had two cards actually in mind that I wanted to pick up for my dad, and I managed to pick up one, and I never found a suitable copy of the other, which you would think at this kind of show. And again, I didn't ask every dealer. I asked the dealers that had, let me say what it is. It's a 61 Topps Maris. This one I picked up for myself, and I picked one up for my dad. And I asked the vintage dealers that had the slabs out. Hey, do you have any? You have 61 or 62 Marises? And I think one had 8s, but that's not what I was looking for. So I went ahead and picked up 2 61s. I wasn't able to find any 62s because I wanted to get one of each, just to have them, because it's commemorates his initial American Home Run League record. So, and they're not all that expensive, grand scheme of things. Even in a 4, this was $90 in a 4. So, and it's decent centering. I mean, the left or right could be better, but I did get my dad a 6, which looks much better than that, and it's just the centering thing. So, anyway, that actually, the 6, not the 4, the 6 actually wound up being the first purchase I made during the show, and that was on Friday. And I think this is, was this? Yeah, this was the second. Then they kind of get out of order, and that's fine. I just have them sorted by year. So the second release that I spoke about, second pickup, was this 1993 Topps Finest Barry Bonds in a PSA 6. Just a tremendous looking card. I mean, centering is pretty good. It's tough to tell because the borders kind of blend in, but the centering on the back is okay. But this card is not about centering. This card is about shine, and boy, does it shine. There's very minimal greening, and that doesn't really bother me anymore as much as it used to, because if you have a refractor that's greening or greened or hulked, however you want to pronounce it, punctuate it, at least it's not a fake card. That's a big thing. So you don't have a fake card. So if you missed the nightly recap, I bought this from a seller who had actually at the show submitted 8 of these, believe it or not. He had 8 of these because I had seen them all afterwards. He got 4 8s, 3 7s, and this 6. Now, PSA was charging $150 at the show minimum, so I don't know what the threshold was. Like the CGC floor threshold was $4.99. So these are not $4.99 raw. They're probably in that area actually, if you can find. But to find it was impressive that he found 8, and submitted them all, and he got them back. And he got them pretty. If I bought this Friday, so he got them back pretty quick too. So I don't know if he paid extra for that. But we talked about it for a little bit, and he was saying that he was hoping to get a 10 for his collection. Who wouldn't? Or 9s, which would sell very well. They're pretty pricey. So when he got back 4 8s, 3 7s, and a 6, he was very, very dumbfounded. And I don't even remember what it is. There's one of these corners that's dinged. I don't care. You know, when you want to own the card, you know, and this and a 6 was, you know, very, very, wasn't cheap, but, you know, it was definitely attainable. And it was definitely a lot cheaper than the 7s and 8s that he had. So I don't think he would have submitted this if he thought this was a 6. I guess that's the long and short of it. He would not have said, hey, I'm going to spend, you know, minimum $150 to grade this, and then it comes back 6. So he probably, I would venture to guess that he did lose money on that transaction. By the time, you know, he bought it raw, had it graded, and then sold it to me. So since I, you know, by Friday afternoon, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to get those the 52 Mays. Oh, and the other two cards that I wanted to get, I guess I'll just say the top 3 was the Mays and the 69 white letter, top 69 tops white letter mantle variation. I think I saw one authentic for an obscene amount of money, and I don't know if I saw any others. But yeah, I didn't. I wound up not getting one, obviously, since I'm talking about it, and that's okay. Hunt goes on. So the third card on the list that I wanted to get was an 87 Donruss Opening Day Barry Bonds error, which features Johnny Ray. Never owned that card, and figured this would be a good time to try to find one. Nope, didn't find one. And the cool part about going to this show and having friends is that they'll all keep an eye out for you. Between those 3 cards, the Topps Blacks, I had half a dozen friends keeping an eye out for me, and I actually had one card 3 different friends sent me a picture of. So it's like, yeah, I saw that one, but either it wasn't for me or it was too much. There's one card that was too much. It was just the dealer had it in the showcase for at least 4 times what it was worth. You know, and hey, it's the dealer's card. Do what he wants. He had it in the showcase last year too, so I'm guessing he'll have it in the showcase next year too. It's just not, you know, it's no. All right. So, having seen what I saw, getting the lay of the land, you know, reading the room, kind of came to the conclusion that, you know what, these top 3 cards are not going to happen, and that's okay, because we're never finished collecting. There's always something to hunt. But I ran into a dealer that had, it was probably his whole table. It might have been 2 booths back to back. Probably 12 showcases, 8, a lot of showcases of Pacific, mainly football, but did have a couple of baseball cases of Pacific, and it got me to thinking. And it's a card, you know, there's the cards that kind of I don't want to say poo-pooed on, but forgotten about a little bit. Never taken all that seriously back in the day. But, you know, the cards are nice looking. So, it's funny. There's a couple thoughts on this, but on Sunday, I went back and picked up a couple of these. 96 Pacific Kramer's Choice. And this is the first year they made Kramer's Choice. This was in the Crown Royale release. And I get it. There's a baggie inside, but I don't think... I've seen, Beckett is Beckett, and I've seen SGC, and it doesn't, it is what it is. I mean, if you want to collect these, this is what they look like. This is they come in the baggie. Either you deal with it or you don't collect them. I think these have a lot of untapped potential. These were case hits back in the day, 29 years ago. It's scary to think that these 96 is 29 years ago. But they're super shiny. They're case hits. At this point, the wax is pretty non-existent. There's 10 cards in the set. And Griffey is top dog. I mean... You don't need me to tell you about Ken Griffey. So I picked those two up on Sunday. And Saturday... I'm getting confused which days are which. But so I wound up picking up two 96s. This is two 97s. Oh no, this is a 98. So these were in the regular Pacific release. 98, and again 10 card checklist, varied. Player selection was almost the same, but Griffey's still top dog. And this is the 97. This is in the regular Pacific, and these are just shot. As Don told me when I was talking to Don and another friend of mine about these, and checks what Don likes, and he always says this, and it's one of the things I like, is that it checks all the boxes. 90s, shiny, die cut, Griffey, but Griffey with the Mariners, and it just scarce. It's not rare. It's not cheap, but they're not cheap, but they're not rare. The gentleman that I bought these from, I spent quite a bit of time with him. He spent quite a bit of his time sharing his knowledge, which I couldn't appreciate more because, like I say, always learning. So I really felt confident about picking these up, and really glad I did. Really glad I did, because they're just fantastic looking. And I think, if you want to get 90s Griffey stuff, especially in a 9, which these are pretty tough to grade, if you start looking at the Topps Chrome Refractor stuff, you're looking at comic cards. These were not these were not close to comic cards. So again, there's some untapped potential, underappreciated, I guess you could say. So I gave it a shot, why not? And very happy I did. Definitely glad to have. This was something, going to the National, I did not have on the radar. If you would have said a month ago, Eric, you're gonna buy a few, Kramer's Choice Griffies, I probably would have laughed and okay. But this one I picked up along with the first Kramer I picked up. And I had shown this off on the recap, but this is from 98. Invincible, it's one of the inserts. Gate attractions, it's got embossing there, and it's quality made. I mean, it's an acetate card. You can kind of There we go. You can see through there. The circle is acetate. And, they just don't make them like this anymore. Topps doesn't care. Everyone buys everything, so who cares? But that wasn't the last Pacific I bought. I bought another Pacific from him. He talked me into it. Talking about how, the delicacy of these cards and them not grading well. So, low pop, not usually caring about that, but it is a valid point. I picked this up. He talked me into it. From 1997 Pacific Crown Royale, I believe, but this is the Triple Crown die cut insert. And there are no parallels to this. It's just this insert. There are parallels to the later Kramers, but they get really pricey because they're numbered like 99 and lower. But he was talking to me about we got to talking about the different die cuts and the intricacies of them being made, and this top edge here can be pretty rough. And this is a 7. There are no 9s of Griffey. There are a total of 4 9s in this insert set. I think it's a 10 card set. But again, that's just a beautiful looking card. I get it. I know it's horizontal, but 97 Griffey is probably his best year. MVP. And his 98 season is almost identical numbers wise, but I think he came in 4th place in MVP that year. But this is just a beautiful looking card, so I'll be on the lookout for more beautiful looking cards like that. And if I find some, great. If I don't, that's fine too. So the last pick I'm showing, I guess technically this was the last pickup of the show for me, but I can't remember what day this was. This might have been Saturday. Again, they're all blended together. But the card that's not rare, not plentiful, kind of somewhere in between. This goes under the category of cards I've been, wishy-washy about picking up. I would every once in a while would search them out, but it's not cheap, and I never got around to getting one. But now that the other cards I was looking to get, I didn't, so I figured, I saw this in a showcase next to a beautiful 2018 Topps Independence Day Juan Soto BGS non-real gem, which he was asking a lot for, and rightfully so. That's a very exclusive club to be in. So I went ahead, and he had a card next to it that I was checking out, and it was this one. The 2013 BBM first version, Shohei Ohtani. You can see it by the right there. I think it shows up. But anyway, let's not do that. But anyway, this is his first card. This is the first card he ever had as a professional baseball player. So this is 12 years old, this card now. And very happy to have this in the collection. This was I'm hesitant to call it a rookie card, but this is a very desirable Ohtani card. So normally I'm trying to stick to the low numbered or difficult to obtain, and the gentleman, the Pacific seller, said that he roughly 200 produced on the Kramers over the years. At least the first 3 years. He likes the 96 7s and 8s, and then he said by 99 he's like, they're making too much now. So that's where his personal cutoff and it was actually represented by what he had available for sale. So was very happy to add this Ohtani. It's actually the same price as the Bonds, so that was cool. Those wound up being the most expensive purchases for myself by far for the week. And yeah, so that's pretty much. Yeah, it is. I sit back and I think today that I only picked up 12 slabs, but I like to think I made them count. As I continue to try to do this, collect this way, it is fun, but it is frustrating, obviously, because who doesn't like getting mail cards coming in? So I will give you a little teaser on the probably the next episode I put out will be the reveal, the CGC reveal, the third annual one. But I did one card that, and these slabs are just so nice looking. I know they're not for everyone, but man, they are just nice looking, and the price point. And this was I had shown in the pile video. This is the Henley Waters 2024 Leaf Meadow Women of Sport. This is the proof, the super prismatic gold proof. It's a 1 of 1, and it came back at 9. Very happy with that. It's got the sticker there. They make about 37 different, or probably more like 67 different proof 1 of 1s, but this is the only one that it's got the superfractor swirlies, or the gold vinyl that Panini uses. But man, that's just real nice. The swirlies are just something else. There's a different level of special. But yeah, I'm very happy to have that. Had that slabbed up. Looks great. No baggie. Oh, there were no baggies in this order. There's your spoiler alert. But until then, Back Pages out.